Now, so what I want to do is this. So the other thing that they're doing, before we move on to the next thing, the other thing that they're doing is, one, they're trying to divorce themselves from the word, they're trying to divorce themselves from the word religion. The other thing that they're trying to do by proxy of that, all right, by default, if you divorce yourself with the religion, then what do you have left according to their thinking? The only thing that's left to discuss is a relationship with Jesus. So now it's all, the emphasis is now off of the religion, right? Forget the Bible, forget 1 Corinthians, forget Leviticus, because they're going to say forget that anyway because it's Old Testament, and you under the New Testament now, right? Even though Jesus himself in the Bible said he did not come to break the law or to get rid of the law, he came to fulfill the law. So you need to stop hiding behind this New Testament garbage saying that the old law is no longer applicable because you don't know how to read your own book. Okay? Now, so now let's get the next one. Now, here we go. So Kirk Franklin said he wants to lose religion. Well, all that means is he wants to lose his commitment. His commitment to what? He said rules without a relationship is empty. So he wants to lose his commitment to the rules. So now Kirk Franklin wants Christianity with no rules. And I'm going to prove it to you in a second. And that's what most Christians want. And that's why they love Christianity. They're not accountable for anything. If you're forgiven for everything you do, then you might as well go ahead and do whatever you want. You want to kill somebody, go kill them. You're going to be forgiven just by accepting Jesus Christ. You want to rape somebody, go ahead and rape them. You're going to be forgiven just by accepting Jesus Christ. It is a psychologically default religion. You understand what I'm saying? It's a green light to do whatever you want because you're always going to be forgiven. You're on a forgiving train. Okay? Now, here you go. Check it out. Now, so now that we know that psyche, or now that we know that spirit only means breath, wind, or air, or breathing, that's all it means. Now we're going to look up in the Hebrew. We go to Strong's Concordance Hebrew, right? And the word is, yo, you just breached something, right? And the word is, the word, here we go. Strong's Concordance Hebrew, ruach. Breath, wind, spirit. Go to the Hebrew, okay? Strong's Concordance. Ruach. Breath, wind. So now you got the word spirit. Here you go, ruach, 7307. Breath, wind, spirit. You see that spirit means breath and wind? Again, the term ruach means breath and wind again. No matter which way you try to get out of using the term spirituality, spirituality is only going to mean this, breath and wind. It's never going to mean anything else. As long as you try to make it mean something else, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Oh yeah, if he's here, he might as well just come in and have a seat. Yeah, don't let him stand out there. Okay? Now, to expirate. Have you ever heard the word expirate? To expirate means to breathe out forcefully. Okay, so let's be clear on what we're talking about. So a lot of people use words like spirituality, but they don't know what they're talking about because they don't know the origin of the words. You use words like religion and you don't know the origin of the words. So Kirk Franklin, you want to lose your religion? All you're saying is you want to lose your supreme commitment. That's it. And you want to help other people lose their supreme commitment. And like you said in your article, rules without a relationship is empty. And that's what you consider religion to be. Rules without a relationship. Which means what you want, Kirk Franklin, what you want is you want a relationship without rules. And that's problematic, my bro. Because that's an anything goes mentality. Or you could behave anyway. You could do anything. It don't matter who you having sex with. It don't matter how you having sex. As long as you go to the cross and to the Lord, like you said, there's room. Hold on. Kirk Franklin said there's room at the cross for everyone. Kirk Franklin, you a liar. And I'm going to prove to you a liar right now. Because your own Bible, see, that's why you got to be careful with these slick Christians. Kirk Franklin ain't never read a Bible in his life, because if he did, he would remember Hosea 4:6. No, they got to hear the whole thing real fast, though. Check it out. Right? It says, here we go. Yes. Hosea. I want all of you Christians and all you Bible thumpers to turn to Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. All right? Because Kirk Franklin said he wants a relationship without rules, because he said that religion is rules without a relationship and it's empty. Therefore, all he wants is the relationship with Christ. But he wants to averse the way. Read the article. I didn't say that. Kirk Franklin said it. He wants a relationship without rules. You know how Kirk Franklin is always saying, I'm the most sinful person I know. And if there's room for me, yeah, Kirk, what are you really doing? How are you really living that you're so sinful that you constantly in need of grace? Like, what are you really doing, Kirk? Thank you. Thank you. He said in Hosea 4:6, he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also will reject you. Now that's incorrect. He says, I don't know, this is King James. No, that's the new key. See, they changed the language. You got to be careful with your translations. That's not what the original says. Not the KJV. The KJV originally says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law, blah, blah, thee, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, right? I will also forget thy children. So for all of you Christians who are always trying to say, are we under the New Testament? Jesus Christ just said, because you've forgotten the law. He's talking about that law in the Old Testament. He said, because he forgot the law, he will reject you. He said, I will also, he said, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So he will reject you for rejecting knowledge and for forgetting the law that you said you no longer under, which is the Old Testament. He said he's going to reject your children. You Christians are so lost, it's not even funny, because you love hiding under the New Testament, thinking that dismisses everything in the Old Testament. It doesn't, because you wasn't even listening to the person who you say you serve. You fakes and you phonies, all of you, and Kirk Franklin is the biggest one, because he wants a relationship without rules. Let me see. Yeah. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, for thou hast rejected knowledge. And I will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Okay? Pay attention to Jesus when he's talking if you're going to say you worship him. And don't tell me that I need to meet Jesus if you don't listen to the man yourself. Because I'm getting tired of you Christians telling me about Jesus, but you don't even listen to the man. The man said if you forget the law, he's talking about the law in the Old Testament. Not some new law in the New Testament, the law in the Old Testament. He said, for you rejecting knowledge, he's going to reject you. And for you forgetting the law, he's going to forget your children. So two things that Christians are not allowed to do, Kirk Franklin, if you want to be saved, Kirk Franklin, or all you other Christian nuts out there. You are not allowed to forget the law of the Old Testament. You have to observe it. That means Leviticus. Everything in it. Okay? Also, you are not allowed to reject knowledge. If you reject knowledge, it don't matter who it's coming from. If you reject knowledge, Jesus said he's going to reject you. That you shall be no priest to him. In other words, he ain't got no conversation for you. Ain't no relationship there. Okay? So let's keep it moving. Thank you very much, my bro. I appreciate that. Here you go. Kirk Franklin also said in his interview at the Breakfast Club, he said, hey, look, you know, if we're going to get on people about homosexuality, Leviticus also says that if heterosexual people have inappropriate sex, they are also in violation of the law, right? So, but here's the rationale, and I know where he got it from. He got it from a pastor, because I saw the pastor give the sermon. And I think it was like back in September or August. There was a pastor who gave a sermon. I don't know his name. But the brother said, we need to stop this stuff in the church. If we're going to get on people who are homosexuals, then we got to get on adulterers, then we got to get on, in other words, well, since we're not going to get on the adulterers, and since we're not going to get on the fornicators, then we're not going to get on the homosexuals. In other words, you understand what I'm saying? You're using those other violations to validate this violation. Or you're using your unwillingness to address the other ones because you're probably participating in it. So therefore, you don't want to address this one. So if that's the case, what did Kirk Franklin do? He said two things. The first one he said was, there's no difference between sins. Which means that as far as Kirk Franklin is concerned, how are you going to tell me there's no difference between sins? If you take the Lord's name in vain, that's between you and God. But if you kill my family member, that's real beef. That's a problem. So we talk about Christians. So my thing is, I don't even have a problem if they forgive the murderer. What I'm saying, though, is you cannot equate taking the Lord's name in vain and murdering somebody and think they're the same sin. Because that's what he said. There's no big sins, there's no little sins. They're all just sins. You're a fool, Kirk Franklin. And you're just trying to extend your foolishness to other people. And I'm just telling you what it is. There's no such thing as a big sin or a little sin. Of course there is, you fool. I don't know what they putting in your food out there, whatever, bro, but I can't let you sit there and say stupid things to our community and not address it if I have a platform to address it. All I'm saying is that, so Kirk Franklin said there's no difference between sins. Little sins and big sins, they all the same. I reject your deposit, bro. Okay? There are degrees of sin. Okay? And in fact, you need to study your religion, because when you study your religion and you go back to the original text, it tells you that there's different degrees of hell reserved for different sins. So why don't you actually get into your text? Why don't you actually start walking your walk? It's not all about being a creepy person and getting a constant supply of forgiveness. Because there's never an incentive to change. There's never an incentive to evolve, to elevate, and to grow, and to cultivate. You understand? Stop this irresponsible religious bullshit, because that's what it is. Now I'm going to show you he believes it. In Kirk Franklin's interview, he invoked, to prove his point, he invoked Romans 5:20. And Romans 5:20 says, where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. Those were his exact words in the interview on the Breakfast Club. He was like, yo, hey, we can't judge. There's no such thing as a small sin and a big sin. You know what the good book says. Where sin abound, grace aboundeth more. So what that is remember I said about what Christians do? They rationalize. That saying, where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. What is the grace they're talking about? The grace is that forgiveness. So what that is that's a recipe that says, if you want more forgiveness, you can get as much as you want. All you got to do is sin some more. Because if you don't sin, what is there to be forgiven for? So Christians are a bunch of forgiving junkies. They all need to be forgiven because they have no intentions of stop sinning. They don't even want to try. According to Romans 5:20, this is what Kirk Franklin said. He rationalized his statement about sins by using Romans 5:20, where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. That means where there is sin, where there is a lot of sin, there is even more. What that statement means is that wherever there is a lot of sin, there is that much more forgiveness, that much more grace. All right? So it's a sick type of thinking. There's no accountability. Why is there no accountability? Because as far in their mind is concerned, all of the accountability was taken on by Jesus. So what you did was you created an entire religion of irresponsibility. No personal responsibility in this religion at all. All you got to do is say, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and you are, boom, your slate is wiped clean. Somebody sold you a magic pill, fool. You heard? Now, remember I said what it comes down to is religion equals being bound versus spirituality equals breathing. Religion means bound, as in a vow or committed. Where is it at? Right here. Obligation. It says right here. Religion, origin Middle English, originally in the sense life under monastic vows. A vow is a commitment. Obligation is a commitment. Bond is a commitment. To bind, committed. Okay? So, religion means being bound or committed. Spirituality means breathing. Now, how do we reconcile those words together? I'm going to teach you how to reconcile these two words together. Religion, which means commitment or bound as an obligation or vow, and spirit, which means breathing or breath. The only way you can reconcile these two words is you have to understand that what this is talking about is being committed to breathing. It's very important. It is talking about the commitment to continue breathing. Why is this important? And why is this the supreme value in religious thinking, or in religious axiology? That's the word I wanted. Why is this a supreme value in religious axiology? The commitment to keep breathing. I'm going to tell you why, so that I don't ever forget you heard it, because you heard it here.
Back to now.
Huh?
Back to where we was at.
No, we right there. We'll stay there, stay there.
Oh, good.
There.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm going to show you how to reconcile religion and spirituality, and how to bring them together so you don't have to be confused anymore. Religion means supremely committed to, a supreme commitment. Spirituality means breathing. So religion is a supreme commitment to breathing. Why is that? Well, when does breathing become important to you? You wake up every day and you breathe, so you're not worried about breathing. The only time people are worried about breathing is when they think about death.
That's true.
It's the only time. Because the only thing that we know is that when we stop breathing, we are not comfortable. We are in discomfort. We are in pain. You understand? So the greatest fear is to exist in a perpetual state, not being able to breathe. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's what this is all about. It is the supreme commitment to breathing. Why? That is what eschatological literature is all about. This is all about the hereafter. If people were not concerned about the hereafter and being able to breathe and be okay when they're on the other side, none of this would even matter. They wouldn't care about it. They wouldn't care about Jesus. They wouldn't care about the Bible. They wouldn't care about none of that. So what this really all comes down to is, will I have the capacity to breathe after I have left this world, after I have left this body, after you have expired? Will you have the capacity to still breathe? That's what spirituality is all about, breathing. And what these religions are about, these supreme commitments, you have been sold the idea that if you remain committed to this doctrine, that when you die, you will continue to breathe as you have always known once you have expired. And I'll prove to you that this is correct. The word inspired, the key word in expired, I said all of this is about your concern of what happens to your breathing after you have expired. Even in the word expired is the word spire. Breathing. This is all about breathing. You understand? So this is what you have to understand when you're dealing with spirituality and religion. Spirituality is about breathing. Religion is about a supreme commitment. This is all about what will be your capacity or state of breathing after you have expired in this life. Because what's everybody's worst nightmare? Wake up and you can't breathe. You got to hold your breath for eternity. Imagine being in right? All kind of nightmares.
What about that negative affirmations of I cannot breathe? What does that do to a group of people?
The negative affirmations of I can't breathe?
The people were wearing the shirts and saying it in mass.
Yeah, well, just that, even that alone, that's very good. That's a very good idea. That's a very good concept. That whole I can't breathe movement, even though it was based on what he was saying, what the brother Eric Garner was saying, the reality is people do not understand how important breathing is. They really don't. We take it for granted because we do it automatically. Our bodies automatically do it. But people who have asthma, severe asthmatics, they can tell you about the fear of not being able to take their very next breath for hours, like they feel like they're on their deathbed. When something interferes, if you want to know how important breathing is right now, put your hand over your mouth and put your hand over your nose and hold it for an hour and don't breathe.
You can't do that.
You couldn't even do it for barely a minute. Most of you can't do it for a minute. That's how essential air is to our life. That is how essential oxygen is to our life. It is God itself. You understand? And in fact, that's why it's called the Holy Spirit.
Uh-oh, you sound like you're dealing with metaphysics, man.
Okay? So, most people, see, that's why most of my lectures are going to be about teaching people what words actually mean. Because the language has us messed up. We're using words like, oh, I want to get away from religion and move to spirituality. But you don't know what spirituality is. How do I know? You don't know the definition of the word. How do I know? Because you don't know the origin of the word. If you knew the origin of the word, Greek, pneuma, spirit, breath, breathing, wind, air, right? Hebrew, what does it mean? It's spirit. To say spirit, you must say ruach. What does ruach mean? It means breath, breathing, wind, air, spirit. Right? Because it's all one and the same. So if you're not talking about breath, breathing, wind, and air, you're not talking about spirituality.